Yes, so hello, I'm from the Crema project, and first I want to ask you to fill out your feedback forms, because we are actually more or less paying for this whole event, so if you give us some feedback, we are very happy, then we can evaluate like if you liked it and stuff, so that's important to us. Yeah, as I said, that's me. I'm coordinating the Crema project, and I've worked in many other projects before, so time is rather short, so I'll be skipping a bit of this. So I'm going to tell you about our project, what it is, what our vision is, how we technically try to do it, although I'm going to skip some things there too, maybe, about the real world, so the use cases that we have and where we try to apply Crema, and the business that we are planning to come out of Crema, which is, as we see in this poll, well, you don't think it's going to be too close, but we'll see. So some blue sky thinker sat down and thought about how are we going to do the Industrial Revolution, the next one, and they wrote down some things, and this is how Crema came into play. So basically, we are a research project from the EU, and we are running for 3 years now, and basically this is also the end of the project. We have, I think, 10 or 11 partners in there. One dropped out, so maybe you know some of these. So first I want to tell you something about the beginning of the project, because we needed to move into a lot of factories to see the real world problems, because as I said, the blue sky thinking oftentimes wasn't very compatible to what we saw in the factories. Actually, what we need to implement everything in Industry 4.0 is just not there on the shop floor, so we saw that pretty early on. So these, for example, are the companies that we visited in the beginning. It's a long time since then. Now we're on this workshop, and I can try to show you what Crema is. So in the beginning, with the blue sky thinking, we made a small video to present what we thought Crema is. So have a look. Basically, we are beginning with a company that produces a product, in this example, cars. We thought we must optimize the process so that it's cheaper, better, more informative, and so on. So we looked at the supplies that this company needs, and that these supplies are created by lots of different factories. But you don't have any information about these suppliers or about the processes running there. So we want to connect them with a cloud system to basically have more information about the single parts, how far they are, if there's a problem, and so on. If we have problems, we want to be able to communicate that through the system so that we have an estimation what's going on. So we are supervising also the shop floor, so if there are problems, we can let an assistant basically call in from afar to help people in their product or in their problems with the machines or with the setup they have and so on, so that everything runs again and everything is totally great. So if we have problems with a supplier, we need to exchange him, or we need even, well, let's just say someone broke a contract or so, we have the problem that we need a new supplier. So as we think that we will move to this kind of marketplace where we put our machines in and where we describe everything we have, we can find a replacement for a supplier that more or less is capable of building the same product. Also, we want to be able to scale this. So for example, if you need to move up your production, for example in Tenecode was the case, then you can find another partner who can more or less do the same things. So this is just a tiny bit of what was in this blue sky thinking thing. We have lots of more things in there. It's hard to present it, but I will try to at least give you the basic idea. So the basic idea is that we try to provide everything as a service. So that means that all the solutions that you actually have, because we think the fourth industrial revolution is an incremental process, so you're not going to get rid of all your old systems, but you will reuse them, you will reuse the software, you will reuse the single problem solving that you did in the past, So on every one of that, we do a simple web service, and then we will be able to connect all these cyber-physical systems that we have now, the vehicles, the software, the sensors, the robots, and even workers through smartphones basically and through headsets. Describe these services like what is it that we have actually just marked up as a service and store it in some kind of a marketplace. So you saw the marketplace in the video. The idea is you can put a price on it, you can meter if it's used by someone else, and so that we have an Amazon for services basically. And these services could be anything. Then we want to also make this accessible to people, because all of this knowledge, how to do this. I mean, the managers must be able to still do their process that they knew, and well, basically use other elements in this. So we created a graphical BPMN editor, so you can mark up your process as you know it, and then you can stick in the services from the marketplace that get executed at runtime, or basically when things are happening, the same process also running in a process engine, and you can monitor all the values that are going there, and you can set it all up basically. So we want to support the complete manufacturing cycle. That means we want to be able to draw up these processes. We want to be able to execute these processes and get the data from the processes. But we also, which is the monitoring, but we want to also be able to adapt at runtime. So for example, if something breaks in the middle or something doesn't go on, we want to be able to change this process and continue it. And the last part on the slide is that we want to meter, like how much did you use a service, because if you, for example, use a cloud service from another company within your process, or let's say a transport service or so, we want to be able to determine how much it costs you. This part here, this on-demand and this marketplace, is basically also the solution that Kramer thinks is perfect for bridging the local factory problems, so that you can do horizontal integration within your company, but also, after all, when we have something like an Amazon for services, across company borders. So this is how it looks like. We have companies, we have lots of suppliers for these companies, and within the companies we have lots of workers, we have lots of tools, we have lots of machines, and lots of processes that are running. All of these we mark up with a simple REST service. That means it's a web service where the data gets in that this step of the process needs, and where the data comes out that this step produces. Then we connect all these services with our cloud system and can use these services in our process. So that's the basic idea. The basic idea is that this could be anything, this step. It could be as simple as push data from A to B, or it can be as complex as produce a part in China and deliver it here. Because these steps basically can have sub-processes, which also can be executed. So yeah, it can look very, very simplistic, or as you can later see in our demos, can be very large and hard to grasp. Okay, so this means that we have some kind of programming language here. These systems that you can basically drag and drop in, and where you can connect services, is some kind of a programming language, which is important for our project because we think that you don't only want to access the data, but you also want to be able to act on it. So when you see that a problematic situation comes into play, and you would send a notification to a manager, you of course can do that. But if you know beforehand what you have to do to solve this problem, for example, to trigger another process, then you can just do it without any time in between. So these actions and reactions will help you to save time. So our technical approach, I try to make it not too deep. This is basically our basic architecture picture. So all these things in here are components that we developed within the project. Most of these are like this thing here, which can translate from one format to another, is basically used as a service. So it's one of these boxes that you can just drop in. When you see, for example, we have an Excel file, then you draw then you can first use our tool to create a data translation to another data format. This produces one of these services, and then you can drop it in the middle so that you have the data available in the format that you need. But it all begins on the left side here, where we have our user partners, or where we have the people that want to use these systems, because all these little nice boxes, they don't replace your domain knowledge, they don't replace your solutions that you already have, but they are more or less put into our process with that. And for that, we of course have to look at the real world, and we have to look at the systems and the software you have. We need to put a service on that so that we can use your software, your solutions in our process. So we describe this basically. We put this in a service so that we can use it, and we put this service in our marketplace. Then we have this process brain. So basically, as soon as you have this process set up, you can execute it. You can also optimize it. For example, our optimization, if you want to press metal with a certain force or whatever, or a certain size or in a certain shape, you can describe that, and our optimization then can find the correct service to do that, or the correct machine to do that. So basically this can execute these services. What is, we all store this in a cloud database, more or less. The main problem here with a cloud database is the privacy aspect that we had. Like data privacy is, I think, of the same importance than as the security is, because you of course have to make sure that that you know which data you are sharing with other companies. Even within a company, you have to look like what may the others see, what views on the data may the others see, and what may they not see. Okay, so what is also very important, as I said, is the accessibility of the solutions that we have, because of course you still need your engineers, you still need people doing the technical work, you have to have the people that know how to optimize a certain situation. It doesn't come by magic. Of course you get the data, but you still need the technical solutions, and you have to put it in the system. And then to be able to see the data, for example, we have our big data analytics tools which show you the data basically. We have our process designer where you can click together your process. We have the SPC, which is about setting privacy limits for data. Then we have the monitoring, which is a tool where you can basically enter your KPIs and where you can set notifications and so on. And then we have the PCE, which is a personal collaboration environment, which you could partially see in the demos out there. So in the industrial web solutions, for example, there were some ideas taken from Crema and put into real products. So we have the real world. There are two use cases. You will see more about them later. I will not describe them in detail. It's just to say that we have the use case with Fargo and Geusper, which is about big machines. You will see more about that later, and about getting data out of there, and then use that within a Crema process, so that when a machine goes down, or when you know that a machine will go down, you can automatically, more or less, find out which is the best company to fix the issue, where are the supplies, and you can directly show the user, this is what the system thinks you should do now to have the maintenance. The second use case is Pragmatically Europe. It's more traditional, line-based, so it's more suitable for all these workflows. Here we try to bring in the augmented operator things with a collaboration, so that the operator has more information at hand and can speed up the process. And we have the location technology from Ubisense, where you have these floor plans where you can exactly see where your products are, where your tools are, where your workers are, whatever. Also privacy aspect. So basically that you can use for better error proofing and for some other time savings. Okay, so then we thought, well, it's too sad if we don't try to bring this to market. So within the project we worked on a business plan. The working title is Crema Manufacture, as you can see on these banners here. Basically we want to define, or we have defined what we want to do with this, how we have to progress on the technology to make it market ready, We want to focus on the use case partners first because they know what they're working with. And the idea was already from the demonstrators to provide business value so that they can see basically that this will earn them money. So for the company, we want to target SMEs, and we would like to include like these products that you've seen out there. So our target, I just put it on here, like third quarter of 2018. Don't know if we can keep it, but yeah, we'll do our best. So we defined 4 products, more or less, that we want to start with, which is a track and trace, which means that you can have all the numbers available, you can see all the movements, can improve your error proofing. Then we have the collaborative monitoring, which basically gives the operator more information. The data analytics, where you can find out new knowledge from the existing data that we capture. And then the optimization, which is an engine where you can basically try to formulate your current optimization problems and where it can be built into the process so that we, for example, find out the best settings for your machines so that they can operate more optimally. And lots of other things that you can do with that, but it would go into too much detail. So the marketplace is more or less a future product because, well, it's a bigger scale, but it's hard to say. Okay, basically I just told you something about these things here. So for example, you can monitor your KPIs, calculate your OEE, you get notified about errors, try to reduce human errors, have better quality assurance and so on. So collaborative monitoring is, for example, here are some views that we build. For example, you have an app where you can find out, or where the system finds out exactly in front of which machine you're standing, so you don't lose any time. You can directly see all the information about the machine, like all the manuals, for example, and all the contacts that are associated with the machine, for example, the producer or support staff and so on, the usage plan, and so on. Some more communication options that will improve the efficiency of your workers. Data analytics, I just show you some screens. You can find out about new trends, knowledge that you didn't have maybe. And the optimization, as I said, if you can describe your problem, we can try to improve the performance of your systems or of your processes. And marketplace, as I said, Amazon for services, products, and resources. It is basically the basis that we hope to do horizontal integration with, because you need some kind of privacy-aware database in the sky where you where you can see the other services that you could use from other companies, which is a bit like what you just described with the Facebook thing, but that where you already sell stuff. So even if nobody else is on that platform, they can just look on it, see what services you are providing, and this might bring them to use the platform by itself. Okay. Some special features which are inherent, I'm pretty much done.
I think closer to go.
Yeah, give me half a minute. Okay, so we don't want only observations, but we want to have programmable reactions, so we use less time. I already told you about the worker thing. We want to be able to be extremely adaptable, so we made it possible to run it on one of the major cloud providers. We can integrate with any existing systems on site, and this is just a screen from the designer that you're going to see in the demonstrations later, and that's it.